Hello, Monsieur Harley.
Hello, Mr.
How,
Mr.
every time I've just quickly nipped off and come back, there's another 10 people. So it's quite tempting just to keep nipping off and coming back and see how many. But we've got 50 people here, which is brilliant. Just for a quick welcome to the to the Discord server of Foxify, which is all it's bringing back a lot of memories actually. A year after obviously launching MDB, there is a little bit of pre-sale vibes, even though we're not selling anything at the moment. Yeah, no, it's really cool. Three things. So I did give like an introductory spiel before, but you couldn't hear me because I was on my machine that doesn't like internet in Dubai. So three things we'll cover today. I just want to cover a little bit of housekeeping. Number two, I want to just talk through sort of the high level roadmap up until we launch, and then I want to spill the beans in terms of the NFTs, and then answer any sort of like early questions. But I want to run through the roadmap first because it'll be clear kind of when things are coming out, and then we don't get people saying when white paper when we've just sort of covered when the white paper is going to come out. So yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunity for questions. We've got 55 people in here, which is brilliant actually. I think it's an insane number of people considering it's just an introductory sort of AMA for the first time. If you don't know me, by the way, because I know lots of people have been sending out invites, I'm Danny, so I'm the founder of Foxify. I also, I've been in crypto just over 1 year. I founded MDB before, which was kind of, I suppose, my answer to being a very frustrated investor within the space, and I wanted to design something that could sort of counterbalance the main reasons why most projects fail, really, within the industry. And we couldn't have picked a better time to test the theory. We launched a week before Terra Luna. It was very difficult circumstances. Delivered, a peak around 8x. If you included rewards, it's probably 9, 10x. We certainly 10x versus the price of BNB, which went backwards heavily after we launched. And we're probably sitting strong sort of between 4 and 5x ranging recently. And bit of alpha, we definitely should be seeing some upward price movement in the next couple of weeks. I'll be very surprised if that's not the case. So that's sort of my time in crypto. My background, I've been, a whole team is docs. Foxify, is a registered business, registered in British Virgin Islands, and it's an operating company. And with docs very open. You can find my LinkedIn. I've worked for a couple of Fortune 500 businesses. I've worked for FTSE 100. That's sort of top 100 companies in the UK, if you don't know what that is. And in sort of leadership commercial roles, always been very attracted to quite progressive industries. So I've worked in energy and sustainability, additive manufacturing, SaaS, and obviously blockchain fascinates me as well. So that's an introduction to me. Foxify again. We love solving problems. We look at the challenges within central exchanges. We look at we look. There's lots of people coming out with decentralized trading platforms, and we see some big gaps there in terms of go to market, user experience, and also offering something that's completely scalable. Even the biggest players in the market, people like GMX, who've done a fantastic job. At the same time, because of the way typically perpetuals trading is constructed and the way those systems work, there are limitations around liquidity, which limit the expansion of the platform and how far decentralized can really go in terms of challenging sort of the broader picture, whether that's centralized trading platforms and then also going beyond crypto and looking at sort of trading platforms sort of broadly across forex stocks, indexes, and things like that. So, Foxify, like anything, we want to solve big problems. We see huge ambition, we see huge opportunity, and yeah, very very excited about very excited being able to see what I can see in the background, and very excited about the future as well. And thank you for being here, Harley. That's kind of my pitch. Me, Foxify, what we're going to talk about today. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, might be slightly less impressive than that, but I'll give a brief background.
You got the
I'm
job,
from the
Harley.
States, obviously.
You don't need to compliment me.
Uh, so I'm from the States, as you can tell by my very cool accent. I'm from California originally. Upon graduating college there, I moved to New York, where I live now, and got a job with the U.S. Department of Commerce. Moved up there, it was kind of an operational project management role where I would lead large-scale operations, teams of several hundred people, completing projects for various departments of the government. And then I founded a nonprofit, which is still running today, although I just sit on the board now. I no longer lead that, but we also became national, and it's still out there doing good today. And I did not found MDB. I'm not a founder, but I did find MDB. I joined 2 weeks after launch, after being a spectator in the crypto space for many years. And it's become my life ever since, and it's been wonderful. I've grown a lot as a professional, as a person, and I'm looking forward to do the same thing with Foxify. There's some really, really exciting stuff coming up. So excited to be here.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we've got so much to update. Actually, one piece of housekeeping. What I want to cover. You know, what we're building is very unique. Has as it's a blend of unique, innovative, and also some proven sort of fundamentals in there as well, which is good. Right, that gives you a stable footing for a trading platform, but it also gives you room to grow by innovating and trying to disrupt the market. But this isn't the MDB server, right? And MDB is very much community focused. This is a trading platform focused community, and the server, our socials, the community, the academy when that launches, all of that needs to shape around the fact that we're providing a platform and a service, and our number one selling points are the quality of our product, the effectiveness of the team, and the slickness of the platform, and that will drive much more adoption. This shouldn't be so much around FOMO and all of those things that you get within DeFi. So we're heavily focused on that. So our ambition is that it's a more it's a more sort of platform focused environment than a lot of things you see within the space. And if you go in, you go in big servers, you go into things like Beefy Swap, go into GMX, Synapse Protocol, for instance, go in any of those Discords, and they're much more sort of like serious environments. And we do like a bit of fun, but at the same time, our affiliate program is very core to our strategy, and we're doubling down on that as part of our strategy. It's very generous for affiliates that are successful, and there can be huge earnings for people that support Foxify early. Like any platform, if you're early on the platform, you build a big team, and I think it can be very lucrative. But at the same time, we need to be able to work with other people. So I see there's a lot of sharing of sort of invites and things like that, which is great. That's what it's all about. It's about creating a bit of buzz and engagement. But at the same time, it's a bit of sharing in sort of people's general chats and getting banned and I love banter as much as anybody else. But part of our business model is to work with other projects and with other influencers. So I'll just ask that. If people can, certainly, if you're out there representing Foxify, if you're interested in the success of the business, think about how your behaviours and your actions reflect on the business. Actually, every single person that sees you with Foxify sort of as a server might be making a judgment on whether they use our trading platform or not, and the project leaders that get pissed off with posting, spamming their general chat, might make a decision that there's no way they'd ever work with us and be an affiliate, and that hurts us, right? So I think we have to be very cute, because this is a business that depends heavily on our reputation and also and our relationships with other people as well. Cool. Just want to check. Going to go down to arena questions. Harley, I just want to see, have you spotted anything in there yet? Because I know you probably had eyes on it the last few minutes.
No, yeah, there's nothing in the arena, but so I don't know if people see it, but if you guys do have questions or comments or anything, just pop it over in the arena.
Yeah, cool. And obviously, yeah, we've Virgil in here, who's a very, very conservative individual, also sharing the server rules, which is very, very helpful. Cool. So no big questions at the moment. What I'd want to cover then is just walk through, before we get onto sort of NFTs and answering any questions. I just want to walk through the image that we shared yesterday. That's a high level. It is very high level, actually. There's lots more in between. And there's a lot more information. So members of the team at the moment will be introducing introducing members of the team over the next week. We're now up to 9 people on the team, and potentially 2 to 3 people more still, actually. And that 9 people, yeah. So we've got so we have core team members looking at affiliates. We've just hired a chief of staff as well. We've got head of operations, which is Harley. You've got myself. You've got marketing. We've got going to forget somebody, CFO. And then we've got other strategic advisors. So we've got a strategic advisor helping us with strategic relationships. So they've helped us, with discussions with people like big chains. So we've spoken to Polygon, Arbitrum, ZK, Binance. Spoken to sort of like all of the big chains that you would imagine. They're also helping us with sort of VC discussions, and then introductions to other important people. So if you want to launch a token on a central exchange, so they've helped us with introductions there. But then you also need liquidity providers and market makers and so on. So we've got one consultant who's helping us specifically on that, who's a strategic advisor and has an interest in the business as well. And we have another strategic advisor, Tuan. We haven't put out his details yet. He's not on the website, but he's been working with us for a couple of months now. Tuan runs an arbitrage hedge fund at Zug in Switzerland. Very clever guy. Lots of experience around central exchanges and some experience across DeFi as well, and he's helping us in terms of our liquidity provision and automated trading strategies. And we have another chap who's done multi-billion-dollar raises, a chap called Josip, and he's helping us on sort of strategic relationship and sort of VC partnerships side as well. So we've got there's quite a big team with a couple more. We're going to be putting a couple more people around marketing, and we're still pushing very hard to try and we're in discussions with somebody to lead sort of affiliates in Asia, and we would also like some dedicated marketing resource in Asia as well. So lots and lots and lots being put together. There's a few
lots of virtual hands being shaken.
Lots of real hands as well. Lots of real hands. There's a few questions there. Should we take a few questions before we jump on to? We jump into the plan.
I'm not seeing anything in the arena here.
Really? No, it's not in the arena. It's in arena questions.
Or arena questions. All right. Where? Don't see arena questions.
Right above arena.
There we go. Thank you. All right. Yeah. When I was over here, there's nothing in there. The people are probably losing their minds. All right. Yeah, in here. Yeah, I see it, y'all. Thank you. Quite the operations manager. Let me see. You see any questions you want to take here? The first one I see is Ben. What kind of trading would Foxify be focusing mainly? Forex, crypto. Forex or crypto? There's a question. Are we getting into these questions this early?
So look, Foxify is a two-sided trading platform, so it's peer-to-peer options, and which is something that's unique in terms of the structure within crypto, and perpetuals. So our perpetuals is something that's done. We've got a number of innovations around liquidity provision, user experience, which we'll go into over the next week or so, that really sets us apart. We have enterprise grade infrastructure, and so from a usability perspective, which is probably the single biggest driver actually over everything else for what traders use, we'll go in straight away as top tier in terms of capability. In addition to that, we've got a number of innovations providing very clever ways that people can provide liquidity to the perps, and if you understand the way sort of most decentralized perps platforms work, you're a trader and you're trading against the perps pool, or you can deposit into the perps pool and you're winning when traders lose, and you earn, and whether even if traders are break even in the perps pool, you earn an APY because you earn a share of the trading fees. So all of the volume pays the perps pool. So you've got two options with perps. You can either contribute liquidity and earn an APY from that, which certainly when you're relatively new should be a very, very healthy APY. or you can you can use the platform to trade, and there's a number of things around UX and design that we're pushing hard on to make it a very attractive place to trade on. On the options side, it opens up a completely different dimension. So you are able to trade options, and you are then also able to provide liquidity on options at a rate of your choosing. So the market is setting the rate for the options. So you choose an option, you choose the asset, you choose the maturity period within some parameters, and then you can choose the rate, and that creates competition on both sides of the trade, and also creates a dimension where, rather than just providing funds to a liquidity pool like you do on perps, you could also have a very strong conviction that maybe Bitcoin is no way going to go up again tomorrow, and offer the market, a very high return if Bitcoin does move up a certain percentage in the next, say, 8 hours. And people who take you on that option, when those options mature, if they're wrong, then you're accumulating liquidity. Obviously, if the market is right, and or you were too aggressive on your rate, then that's also a risk for you. But it opens up a very different dimension where you don't have to just be a trader. You can also be a liquidity provider on specific options of a rate of your choosing. So you choose your risk level, basically. If you wanted to offer someone 10x on Bitcoin going plus 3% tomorrow, then you can. But maybe you'll run some numbers, and we'll help with that in terms of the UI. And you say, okay, well, I'll a 2.5x is maybe a sensible level of risk based on the probability. So it's two-sided. Hopefully that answers the question. In terms of what can be traded on it, perps always has a limitation of liquidity. You dilute the liquidity too much by having too many assets, and becomes very difficult. Even people like GMX, who've done $1 million a day in fees, very limited options in terms of tokens, and that's because of the structure. When we look at the options side, it's the technology is built to be able to trade any pair. That doesn't mean it's practically a good idea to list every pair right from day one. But if you ultimately, you don't have to worry about provision of liquidity, but you do need makers and takers, right? You need traders of all levels, whether it's institutional, semi-sophisticated, or retail, operating on both sides of that options order book. And then how much you can scale is how much you can deploy. But it gives you lots of options. So for instance, you could say, we are going to list Doge, and you've got no limitation, no inhibiting factors in terms of liquidity, and you can just go and target the 2 million Doge community for 4 weeks, launch the order book, and then drive volume to it. And if it's successful, then you keep pushing it. If it's not, then maybe you try other assets. But long term, it's a technology that can be scaled well beyond crypto, forex, stocks, indexes, and commodities, but then you start running into sort of regulatory and compliance questions, and that's very much a sort of a phase 2 for the business. And then you've got an opportunity to be like a Web3 sort of options trading giant that is able to offer something that mainstream platforms like eToro, Robinhood just cannot. In their sort of like Web2 infrastructure. So that's and it's trustless, right? There's no custody of funds as well. So hopefully, it's a long answer, but hopefully that kind of answers the question. Was that Ben?
Yeah, I think that was Ben. And we got
nice being
Virgil.
able to be able to share a little bit of detail. Actually, it's quite nice to get some of it off my chest.
Yeah, well, get used to it. There's a lot flowing out over the next few weeks. We got Virgil / Garlic Worm. They're like finishing each other's sentences. Will Foxify be secure from hacks? And then Garlic Worm says, or exploits. So this is something I think Vela just had some issue with this. So this might be what they're asking.
Interesting. What was the issue? I'm not aware.
I'm not sure. There was some exploit and people were trying to get funds back. I just saw it over in another group I'm in. I'm not actually on Vela. But I think it was undetermined what the problem was, but they were working on getting people back funds.
Yeah, interesting. I can't comment. I think it depends, right? Because they're sort of like quite subjective terms. Sometimes people say exploit, and what they mean is, GMX have had what some people would call an exploit, and I think what it was, I've got a paper somewhere on it, and basically somebody played the system very well, and one sort of something like $700,000 from their liquidity pool. But they didn't cheat, and they just were successful, and they used technology to do it. And you are the LP for perps is very generous in terms of the amount that it pays out, and it collects a lot of fees. But you are also looking at you're banking on the fact that traders will lose more than they win. So I don't know if somebody, there's certain people sometimes attack each other's platforms looking for sort of liquidity. They call vampire attacks. I can't comment, but we're taking a number of measures to limit those risks. That's why we've got people like Tuan as a consultant on board. We've got lots of other sort of informal advisors around us as well, and we're constructing the platform in a way that gives us flexibility to hedge against very aggressive market movements. And then we're also working on sort of infrastructure things which create systematic hedges actually against those sorts of, I say attacks. They're attacks because I suppose they've got a very specific goal, but at the same time it's just people that if they're able to execute very well, there's a lot of money at stake with these platforms. There's a lot of volume going around and a lot of upside. On the options side, it's unhackable. It's probably should be careful saying things like that, but the way the system works, there is we're it's a smart contract service really, and we're facilitating an environment which allows two people with opposing views on an asset to trade with each other. Their funds are locked in an escrow contract, and the contract will determine the destination of the funds when the option matures, and so there's no provision of liquidity other than the maker and the taker in that scenario. So there's no risk. Technically, there is no risk, and that's a very unique aspect of the platform. I think it's well written about what happens if what if it's a bull market and the market just moves in one way, and traders can just go long and win with their eyes closed. And there's systematic things that we can implement to cover that. On the options side, we don't have to worry about that. The market can do whatever it likes as long as we've got volume moving through the platform. There's no risk to us. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. All right. I think it does. Ben has another question. Would Academy provide trading tutorials for beginners?
Yes. Yes. We have a number of different. So the Academy will have content, guides, documentation. We'll have an auditorium through the affiliate network we're building. We're obviously pushing hard on people that have sort of experience, people like Apex, for instance, who have got some experience in trading and also are very keen to try and help other people learn. And the auditorium will provide an environment for vetted individuals to provide education. Actually, there is also something super exciting in our academy, something that nobody, as far as I can see, in DeFi has done as yet, that will also be in there, but that's something that will come out in a couple of weeks.
All right. And OXK, he wants to know, can he borrow funds?
Can he borrow? Is this like a personal request or?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if he's just asking to
Can I
hold
have some
something,
money?
or if he means is there a lending protocol?
There's leverage, right? So there's not it's not a lending protocol as such, but you take the leverage from the perps pool, which obviously increases your opportunity to win, but also increases your risk at the same time, and you have to provide collateral. But yeah, that's what the perps liquidity pool is for, is to provide sort of funds for leverage.
All right. And Cryptoholic said, what would you say would be the biggest advantages of Foxify compared to platforms like GMX, GNS, DYDX, Apex, etc.?
Yeah, we're producing some documentation on this actually. So we've got actually I forgot to mention Caleb, our research and business development guy, as well on the team. So apologies to Caleb. And he's doing a million things at the moment, but one of the things is a lot of research, and we'll put out some documentation which explains the differences. I think. We just talked about a potential challenge that somebody else has faced within the industry. We don't have that challenge on our option side, we have ways of mitigating that challenge, but it is, everything in life, you can't make money without risk, right? There's doesn't that option doesn't exist in life, not for any decent amount of money anyway. Whereas our options offer something that's completely unique, offers scalability on a level that nobody's ever seen within the industry before, and our UX will be, I can't, without spelling out the specifics, I can't answer that question, but our UX will be top tier. Our UI will be top tier, and there will be some real innovations in there around liquidity provision and just the options concept design, which is our own, is also very unique as well, and that provides a very different way of engaging both traders and also sort of the broader influencer network as well. So from a strategic point of view, it's very different. I don't see any of those guys making we're being very aggressive in terms of the go-to-market and the investments from a marketing point of view. Obviously, signing Tyson Fury looks like his fight will probably be perfect time for us around about June, July, and that's that's going to put 100 million eyes on the brand, and we're going for very much a CFI level of go-to-market, but with the security of DeFi. It seems strange saying those two words in the same sentence, but if something's run properly, then in DeFi that is and can be much more secure than CFI.
Yeah, we got a new acronym called CEDify. CEDify, centralized decentralized finance. So that's it. That's the difference. Centralized decentralized finance. A guy with a name says, "Is the perps pool just Fox tokens or anything? Multiple pools?"
Good question. If you look on the website, so our plan is we can have as many pools as we like actually, but our plan is to have no more than 2 pools to start off with, just to avoid any dilution. The starting plan, white paper pending, but the plan will be that it will be, think of it like a bundle really, and it will be 1 part stable, 1 part blue chips. I say 1 part as if it's equal numerically. It's not. So in different percentages. So it'll be stable blue chips and a small percentage of Foxify tokens actually, which will mean that the liquidity pool itself is also locking up some supply as well as the staking mechanisms and all of the other stuff we're going to do. So hopefully that answers the question. We can have multiple pools, and we are we're going to have something else that's completely innovative, which I can't sort of take you guys through at the moment in terms of liquidity provision, and so hopefully that answers the question. But it's the liquidity pool will pay out in an ETF, which would be stable blue chip and a small amount of minority amount, maybe like 5% of that. So if you earn $100 a day because you've got a lot in the perps liquidity pool, then you'd probably be earning $5 of that would be Foxify tokens, and 95% would be blue chip and stables.
All right, and still related here, will Foxify have options on its own token?
Good question. I think So what drives the success of any trading platform is volume, right? We will focus, and Harley will focus his energy on a very sort of like systematic rollout process, which focuses on tokens with the largest volume and the largest interest. So I would, whilst I'm very ambitious about Foxify, I would guess that Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, Polygon, Doge, DOT, we can go on and on and on, have got very high volume already in the market. So I'd guess that Foxify would probably be quite far down the list, certainly in the early days.
All right, 1 second. 1 second. Well, Foxify, here's from Apex. Will Foxify have any analysis tools built into the platform? Or would you anticipate TA is done elsewhere and Foxify is just the execution of the trade?
Good question. Good question. I can't share details on that at the moment.
All right, hush, hush. Is this still an option? Yeah, the whitelist is still active, correct?
Yeah, the whitelist
For
is.
the NFTs?
Yeah, absolutely. Should
Okay.
we? Because we've taken quite a lot of questions. Should we run through? Should we run?
Yeah, I think bank through and then we can hop back over here because there's a people have a lot of questions.
People have a lot of questions, so yeah, and we've got sort of like strict timings on this as well. So in terms of the road to launch, if you haven't seen it in announcements, check it out. You can see we launched Discord, an official launch of socials. Our Twitter's already, above 10,000 followers. We've got big things going on around the NFT mint, some airdrop campaigns, a lot of engagement going on Twitter. So our goal is for our socials to be growing sort of up to around 5,000 a week. It's very ambitious, and we've got some plans to do that. You can see obviously Discord has been a huge success, almost at 10,000 people in it already. So fantastic start. So keep banging out the invites and bringing in your friends. You can see then, so announcing the NFT and whitelist process. So we'll get that announced tomorrow, but I'm giving you some alpha today. I'm going to give you the deets verbally. The Foxify light paper will come out on the 20th. So that will be sort of like a one-page document. We want that ready before we get into Austin, actually, and then we want to do a load of marketing around that. At the moment, so our technical documentation is like, I think if you saw my tweets, like 30 pages. It's huge. So we need to chisel that down to a concise white paper, but we'll have sort of a simple light paper. 20th of April. Our first NFT mint, we're saying TBC. I can confirm that the first NFT mint will be a week tomorrow. So we say mint one because there will be others. How many and how many NFTs? We really don't know. It's something we can sort of decide on the journey, and yeah, so the mint will be a week tomorrow. I'll get back to the mint in a second. So we then go off to Austin. So we're exhibiting. It'll be our second exhibition of the year. It should be our third, but the Dubai event got moved to October, but that's still in the diary. So yeah, we're in Austin. Then full Foxify white paper on the 30th of April. We're then over to Istanbul, so that'll be our last event before we launch. We launched the Foxify Academy early, so we'll start having content and information. White paper will be out then, educational videos, and by then it'll be very clear what the whole academy will look like in terms of the auditorium and then the other tools that we'll be deploying. And then by that time we'll already have our internal beta running. Actually, we expect to be starting our internal beta as soon as maybe even 4 weeks from now. Things are going very well on the development side, and then we'll have sort of a beta where other people can take part in that beta for a limited period of time. We'll start around 7th of June, and then we'll launch. And between each one of these points, I'm not just trying to create FOMO. There really is like 3 times as many points that we're doing internally between each one of these things to drive. We've got a go-to-market plan, which is about getting 200 million eyes on the brand by the time we launch in June. So that's a huge focus at the moment. Obviously, we're raising funds and going through sort of like private investor conversations. We're having some success there. VC conversations, which we're not looking to close out until around June time, and so we're going through that process. And we also have the option of potentially doing maybe some things that help give us exposure to more and more communities. So maybe we do some small IDOs on some launch pads, or there's a few options that we're considering that are primarily around driving exposure, and also can sort of provide a bit of security from a fundraising perspective as well. And and then we go for launch 20th to 30th of June. I think I feel much safer if we say towards the end of that, and then we make sure we get everything out on time. So it's going to be really super exciting time. Any sort of like burning questions on that roadmap before I jump back to the NFT details?
I think actually there's a lot about MDB here. Oh, a lot. I mean, a few are about MDB related stuff.
Anything on MDB, you need
It's
to ask in the MDB in the MDB server, and we've got, if you're in, there's a session in MDB on the 20th of April, so it's like 6 days away. We've got a VIP session on the 18th of April, so there's plenty of comms. Obviously, MDB has a very keen interest in what Foxify is doing, and obviously that means that anybody in MDB has a keen interest in what that means for MDB. So we've got sessions aligned in the MDB server for those.
okay. So there's two Foxify ones I'm seeing right here. From Apex for perps, would you have both single way and hedge mode for trading?
Potentially. Yeah, potentially. No, nobody. Yeah, somebody made it. Hedge mode wasn't in our plan actually, but it's not. It's not actually. I had a meeting with our CTO today, and we talked about that, and it's not something that would delay us or knock us off course if we included it. We've just got to assess the value. There's always like a million things you can do, but you just got to choose. What's the priority?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. It's not there. Okay.
Not.
So, So, can you share any more about Fox token dynamics?
So when we say token dynamics, what do you mean? The Foxify token is just a straight utility token. It's staked for a share of the platform fees. Our plan is to launch. We're talking to 4 central exchanges at the moment, all of differing scales. It's an interesting experience actually. We're going through it at the moment, learning about all of that. But it's it'll be listed on central exchanges, and it's got a very sort of clear purpose. Now, the way that will work. So if you own the Foxify token, you stake it, then you earn a share of platform fees, but that will actually be paid out to you in 50% stable, 50% native. So you get half and half. So that is then driving constant buy pressure back into the token itself. The token will have our strategy is to have very sensible deployment of volume of tokens to the market as well. So we are extremely confident that supply of tokens on the market will be like a couple of percent when it launches. Anyone in sort of like private sale, VC, anything like that is all vested. Team is all vested. So that with the mechanism there that I just described, where 50% of the rewards will be paid out in Foxify, the lack of supply on the market, sheer volume of supply that is locked up long term anyway. With Foxify itself owning the majority of its own supply, it should be in a very favourable place. There is another thing. So what you will also have the option to do is to auto stake some or all of your rewards actually into the Foxify perps pool. So say for instance you had $1,000 of Foxify token, and that was, I don't know, say for instance that was paying you I don't know, $2 a day. Then that's paying you $60 a month. You could choose to pay 100%, 50% of that straight into the perps LP, so it's then auto staked, which is in blue chips, Bitcoin, ETH, stable, and a tiny bit of Foxify, and then it gives you the ability to almost then recompound your staking earning into the perps pool and then earn from them again.
All right, and just to clarify about the token, no taxes, no deflation, no inflation, just a utility token, right?
Yeah, there's no. I think there will be. There is no plan for inflation, but there will be a mint function in the contract. Just strategically, you just don't. You could, for example, you could have someone like you could merge with someone like DXDY, right? You could have a central exchange come along and want to buy you, and then you rather than launching a whole new version, there might be something strategically that you need to do. So it's prudent to have that capability in there for sort of like some sort of like strange scenario like that where there's fundamental changes to your model. But it's not deflationary. It's fixed. Well, I suppose yeah, it's not deflationary, but we have some options to drive some deflationary measures if we so wish.
All right.
Yeah, no taxes.
That is,
Nil point.
yeah. Buff Tony I think he's hoping for KuCoin. But that is it for Foxify questions apparently.
Yeah, quite often it's interesting because people don't never, and I've thought this actually. I think if I ever get a time when I can sort of like think for 5 minutes, I'd love to just write a load of Medium articles helping other people out that want to succeed in the industry, because it's an interesting industry. It's actually quite parochial, the way it's very much who you know rather than what you know, and yeah, it's interesting. So when you go to like tier 1 exchanges, quite often they want to see you listed on a certain number of tier 2 exchanges before they'll list you, unless you've got like some mega strategic partnership and you can just jump in day one. I think expecting to be listed on tier 1 exchange out of the box is not only challenging to do, but it's also maybe not prudent to do, because the sums involved are like significant, like really significant.
All right. So Buff Tony, talk to your connects at KuCoin and get us a coupon.
Very good. Should we talk about the NFTs then?
Please.
Cool. So the NFTs. So NFTs is funny because I saw someone post like a Willy Wonka GIF on my on the tweet that I put out yesterday, and I've used that word many times in the background talking about sort of the way the NFT works. So there's 3 classes of NFTs, completely random. So there's a gold, there's a silver, and there's a bronze. So a gold, if you have a gold and you're lucky enough to mint one, you can earn 25% off of trading fees. Now, in the hands of somebody who trades, say with leverage, if somebody's trading, I don't know, $20,000 a trade using 20 times leverage, they're trading $400,000 a day, and the value of that NFT to that individual is significant. It's very, very high. So if you mint a gold NFT and we do what we're set out to do, then you've got an option to sell that on the open market or use it for yourself if you're just happy to get a significant discount. A silver will get you a smaller discount, but again, that discount means that it creates an intrinsic value for people that are going to trade decent volume, and that creates then a value on the secondary market for the person that's lucky enough to mint that. With the bronze, it doesn't give you any discounts. However, you can, and the market will dictate the value. We're not charging for the NFT, so we're not concerned about floor price or anything like that. It really is just a pure utility NFT, and but it has got some artwork on it. There are characters, very different to sort of NFTs we've done on different projects. I'd say maybe a slightly cooler sort of look to the NFTs, and and if you've got bronze, it doesn't give you any discounts, but you will have the ability to burn 5 bronze for a silver. So if you can pick up some bronze cheap on the secondary market, or if you're one of these people who's got like 5 Twitter accounts and is able to mint 5, then you'll be able to go and burn those bronze ones to get a silver, which then obviously you can use for discounts on the platform. So that's the plan. So the mint will be, first mint will be on the 22nd, and that's kind of how the NFT is going to work. Any questions on that?
Sorry, I was on mute 1 second. So the NFTs are on Ethereum. Are the NFTs on Ethereum?
We will confirm our chain before the NFT mint.
All right. Yeah, that's it. A cautious typing. Mint price. No mint price. Mint price is a shill of the Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's it.
That is it. Those are the NFTs, and that's the way they'll operate. So if you're lucky enough to mint a gold one, I think as long as we do what we're meant to do, that gold one could be very valuable. The silver will have a good intrinsic value, and then you've got and then with the bronze, there's a way that you can accumulate a few bronzes and chop them in for a silver.
All right. Coach says LFG now. Yo, here we go. Buff turn. This is a good question. Do we only get to mint one free NFT per person?
Good question. Let me try and think of the way I answer this. So when you do the mint, if you've got a whitelist spot, you can't mint unlimited amounts of NFTs. You can only mint one with your whitelist spot. That answers the question. Now, if you're somehow creative and you can get multiple, or there's multiple mints, and then you have the opportunity to obviously revisit the future mints, or if you can be creative with some people have alts, I've seen, then people have other ways of being able to get a couple of spots on the whitelist.
All right. And Akosh says, how many NFTs total? I think you mean supply.
It's flexible.
How many silver burns for gold?
There's something we have spoken about, but it's not something that we've decided on.
Okay. Srini says, we get a random mint. How do we know? The mint is random. I'm not sure what they mean by how do we know. That is it. Virgil's in here helping somebody understand the NFTs. But that's the questions we got right now.
Oh, good. Well, we've nailed it. We've nailed the agenda. So Srini, I'm struggling with that. How do we know? Is Brian Legend on the team? All sensible questions here. When Vulcan partnership? Virgil is Brian Legend. I don't know if anyone knows that. Interesting. Okay. No comment. Danny, are you cool? I'd let other people. I'd say I'm far from cool. How do you know which one?
How do we know which one?
Because there's three.
Are you looking at it?
There's sets of traits there, and there's three versions, and it's it'll be a very someone's using their kids to get extra whitelist. It's good. Yeah, child labour is okay. It's not okay. But
Fox meetup is in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Will there be a way to buy Foxify tokens before launch?
That's a good question. There is, like I say, we potentially could do some strategic stuff on launch pads, but that's not guaranteed.
Okay.
Any questions around MDB would need to be asked in the MDB server.
Yeah. That one was like borderline. It could just be a pre-sale. How will launch go? Fair launch or what?
It's a good question. I
guess it's similar to the last one.
Yeah, well, a fair launch. A fair launch doesn't have a pre-sale, does it? Fair launch is, or do you mean fair launch in terms of the timing and the execution of it? Because you get fair launches where you just launch with liquidity, and the first ones in, are effectively the liquidity providers, and but then you also get fair launch in terms of protection against bots and things like that. So I'm not sure on the question, but our plan is to launch on central exchange and DEX at the same time. But we're not. I spend. We're not doing this for like a pre-sale pump and dump, get in, get out, and there's not. I'm not spending a huge amount of time thinking about that, to be honest. Yeah, I would be very careful around anything that launches. Don't buy with your eyes closed ever, and look at how it's a utility token. Look at how it's working and the ROI that it's giving you, and make an assessment on what's good value to accumulate tokens. That's what I would do. And anything else, i.e., just trying to get in before other people, trying to snipe a launch, comes with significant risk.
Yeah, I think the thing with Foxify too, because we're getting questions about tokenomics, questions about these pre-sales and stuff. I think an important thing for the community to understand is the scope, which you touched on here, of what we're trying to do. Right, like this is the CDFi, right? This is meant to be like an enormous mainstream project, so it will follow a lot of those standards, and not so much what we've seen in DeFi, with pre-sales, where it's 60% off and everyone's open to dump at launch, that kind of thing. So correct me if I'm wrong, but there won't be any of that stuff.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to stay away from that. Absolutely agree completely. The token exists for if people want to speculate on the token and trade it, that's fine. But we're not existing to provide an environment for that. The token exists as a way of distributing value, and there will be some governance around the token as well, and then people being able to use that token for both governance and also to earn a share, to give to provide sort of a share of the platform fees. I spend 99.999% of my day thinking about our trading platform, not launching a token. Yeah, because that's where
the token success will come from the system.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Right, I'm going to knock it on the head because it's 10 p.m. here. I've been at it all day, and I think, is there maybe one or two questions?
How we buy them though? The idea is stuff we've covered basically. No, I think we're good. And everyone with those questions that couldn't be answered, head over to that server, and they will be.
Maybe.
But exciting thing, though. If you're not a MC or VIP yet, you'll probably want to be very soon. We have the AMAs next week, but for Foxify, let's wrap it up. Yeah. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, if you're not aware, MDB is a significant investor in Foxify, and so therefore, there's obviously a keen interest across both sides. And if you're new to MDB, then I'd always recommend getting into the community, understand what's going on there, and kind of where MDB fits into the story.
Yep. Well, all right, Danny. Well, thanks for the AMA.
Cool. Good stuff. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming along. Really, over the moon that we had so many people come along just for our first sort of like welcome AMA.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Cool. Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.